Kansas and Texas compared. Can you possibly think of anything on which you can reasonably engage in Kansas and Texas compared? I mean, is there any similarity between the two states? Or can you meaningfully conceptualize what you can point to as the differences between them? In the first place, are the two states comparable? Well, they are if we want to do the comparison, and that's why watching this video will be worth your while. After all, we can start the comparison by admitting, at least, that they are two states within the same country. While Texas is somewhat more famous, making it the favorite, Kansas is never a minnow. Our today's video will highlight fascinating differences and similarities between the two states. The states in overview. Kansas is one of the Midwestern states. Its capital is Topeka, while its largest city is Wichita. Kansas is a landlocked state, completely surrounded by land. In this case, this doesn't make it disconnected from water. Does the name of the state not remind you of the Kansa River? It derived its name from the river, which, in turn, was named after the Kansa Native Americans who lived along its banks. The name is often said to mean people of the south wind. Texas, on the other hand, is one of the south-central states in the United States. While there have been a series of arguments about Texas being a landlocked state, we would agree with the notion that it is not a landlocked state because, in the final analysis, it has direct access to the Atlantic Ocean, at least through the Gulf of Mexico. Austin is the capital of Texas, while Houston, the fourth largest city in the US, is the most populous city in the state, and Dallas-Fort Worth is its largest metro and urban area. Before we continue, at this point, we could highlight some differences. Kansas is landlocked while Texas is not. Take note also of their different regions. But an interesting similarity is this. The capital cities of the two states are not the largest in their respective states. Please watch this video to the end to see more fascinating comparisons. Geographical location and feature. Kansas is bordered to the north by Nebraska, to the east by Missouri, to the south by Oklahoma, and the west by Colorado. The whole state is situated at latitude 37 degrees north to 40 degrees north and longitude 94 degrees 35 west to 102 degrees 3 west. The state is on an elevation of 2,000 feet above sea level. The highest elevation, Mount Sunflower, is 4,041 feet, while the lowest elevation, Verdigris River at the Oklahoma border, is 679 feet. Texas shares its eastern borders with Louisiana. Arkansas is to its northeast, the states of Oklahoma and New Mexico to the north and west respectively, and the southwest are the Mexican states of Chihuahua, Coahuila, Nuevo León and Tamaulipas, while it has a coastline to the southeast with the Gulf of Mexico. The huge state of Texas is situated at latitude 25 degrees 50 north to 36 degrees 30 north and longitude 93 degrees 31 west to 106 degrees 39 west. Its elevation is 1,700 feet above the sea level, while the highest elevation is 8,751 feet. Population and size. Kansas has an area of 82,278 square miles, which makes it the 15th largest state by area. About 0.6% of this area is occupied by water, and with the most recent population estimate of 2,940,865, it's the 36th most populous state. Given its population and size, Kansas is the 40th most densely populated state with a population density of 34.9 residents per square mile. Texas, as you likely know, is huge both in population and size. At 268,596 square miles, it's the second largest US state after Alaska. Some 2.7% of its area, which is 7,365 square miles, is occupied by water. With more than 30 million residents, according to the 2022 estimate, it's also the second most populous state after California. Given its population and size, Texas is the 26th most densely populated state with a population density of 114 residents per square mile. Wouldn't it be nice if you took some time to think about the population and size of both states? You'll have a chance to share with us your impression in your comment. We'll appreciate it. Brief historical background. Before Kansas was colonized by Europeans, it was occupied by the Caddo and Wichita. Later, the Sioux and Kaw people made it home. The Spanish conquistador Francisco Vázquez de Coronado was the first European to set foot in the place in 1541. The Euro-Americans settled in Kansas for the first time in 1827. By the 1850s, the pace of settlement had accelerated. This was amidst political wars over the slavery debate. In 1854, it was officially opened to settlement by the United States of America government on the basis of the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Then abolitionist Free Staters from New England, together with their pro-slavery counterpart settlers from neighboring Missouri, rushed to occupy the territory. They were interested in determining whether Kansas would be a free state or a slave state. This made the area, then known as the Kansas Territory, a hotbed of violence and chaos because the two forces collided, hence the term Bleeding Kansas. Fortunately, the abolitionists prevailed and Kansas was admitted to the Union on January 29, 1861 as a free state. Can you now make sense of its unofficial nickname, the Free State? It was the 34th state to be admitted. We won't say much about Texas's historical background. We have done several videos about Texas that contain rich info about that. For instance, you can search for our video about Georgia and Texas compared, or about why Texas is so successful to learn more about the historical development of modern Texas. However, for the benefit of those who haven't seen any of the videos, it may be instructive to say a little. What does the term Six Flags over Texas mean to you? That term is loaded with a lot of history. It is a constant reminder of the history that has been made throughout the time several nations have ruled over the territory. It was the European that first claimed and controlled the territory. France also held a short-lived colony there. It was from Mexico that the territory gained its independence, as it controlled it until 1836 before it became the Republic of Texas. In 1845, Texas became a part of the Union as the 28th state. The annexation of Texas set off a chain of events that eventually culminated in the Mexican-American War of 1846. In early 1861, Texas, which had been a slave state before the American Civil War, declared its secession from the USA and officially joined the Confederate States of America, the CSA, on March 2nd of 1861. After the war, it was readmitted on March 30th, 1870, on the basis of waivers though, because it didn't meet all the requirements for readmission. Its representation was restored in the federal government. However, Texas fell into economic stagnation, lasting a very long period. Both in their cultural background. Kansas culture has for the most part been political, as it's among the most socially conservative states. Besides, the state anthem, written by Kansan Brewster Higley, is the American classic Home on the Range. To demonstrate its music culture, the state has another official state march adopted by the state's legislature. Known as the Kansas March, it features the famous lyrics which say in part, "Blue sky above us, silken strands of heat, rim of the far horizon where earth and heaven meet." As for the Texas culture, it comes from a blend of southern, western and southwestern genres. The breakfast burrito, a popular food item, draws from all three cultural backgrounds. It's a soft flour tortilla wrapped around bacon with scrambled eggs or another warm cooked fillings. Immigration has done a lot in enriching Texas's traditional culture, making it a melting pot of cultures from around the world around the 18th and 19th centuries. People, the Kansans and the Texans. The people of Kansas are called Kansans, while those living or born in Texas are proudly called Texans. Kansas has the nicknames the Wheat State, America's Heartland, and the Jayhawker State, but the official nickname is the Sunflower State. Sunflower is incidentally the flower of the state and the name of its highest mountain. The nickname of Texas is the Lone Star State. Dwight Eisenhower, 1890 to 1969, the 34th President of the US, was born in Denison, Texas, and was raised in Abilene, Kansas, in essence belonging to the two states. He was a Texan by birth and a Kansan by upbringing. Charles Curtis, 1860 to 1936, who served as the 31st US Vice President from 1929 to 1933 under Herbert Hoover, is from Kansas. Do you now agree with what we said in the intro? Please, how does this video feel to you? Are there other areas of Kansas and Texas comparison? Kindly tell us. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.